Uh-oh, she said it.
Yeah, she said it. Recording in progress. Welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound. And you already see it. This will be a fun kind of interview. I'm very, very happy to have the guys from Umlaut here on the show. And before we start, and before one of them is still fixing the setup.
No, and I'm just trying to see if you guys are hearing ping pong balls rolling in.
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And it's definitely working. All right, cool.
Yeah, it is working.
That's the best way to check. Yeah. That's the most professional way to check the mic.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe a bit more verb on them.
People should do that as a sound check at every show. So,
there's no big wind. Not outdoors.
Well, then you just have to. Then you just have to hush into a microphone.
Your voice is pretty faint there, Danny.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's good because the beanbag sounds like a drum roll.
That's not loud enough. Then I don't.
That is loud. That is definitely loud enough.
I have it twice as loud as I usually have it right now.
Wonderful.
Like
so now you already know one of the guys. So you know Danny, and maybe all the others can also quickly say who's who, and say what they do in Umlaut. Apart from Mr. McKinnon, because he already had the pleasure to do one of those nerve-wracking interviews with me 2 years ago.
Okay, I'm Angus. I play the guitar, the keyboards, some singing, and I obey the law in Umlaut.
Outside of obeying the law, I play bass and a little bit of synthesizer.
Danny is throwing ping pong balls, and
and play the drums in Umlaut.
Yeah, and I didn't actually say my name is Shane.
Yeah. Good, but it's
Shine.
And then we have Mr. McKinnon. Bear, which instruments are you providing for the new Umlaut record?
I have the emotional labileness, lability. No, what am I? I guess I'm kind of. I do some vocals and play some saxophone and play keyboards. Yeah,
everything that we don't do.
And
you're the composer, man.
A little bit of flute.
Flute. Okay. For everybody, when you hear this a few days before, the guys will have released their new record called Désolé on June 25th via Overdrive Records. And first, I would like to ask you one question that we normally do at the end, but I think in the context of this interview, the question, which Beach Boys song you like more, is pretty appropriate. So I'll give you two Beach Boys tracks, and everybody has to choose.
I want to come up with my own ones.
No, because otherwise you come up with songs that don't exist. So I'll give you
was on there, so.
God Only Knows versus Surfin' USA. Everybody has to choose.
Come on, God Only Knows every time. Like
God Only Knows.
Surfing USA, just because I heard it first. I mean, I heard it long before I heard the other one. I never heard of that other song you're talking about. I have no idea. I've only heard it 1,000 times from other people doing it. It's a beautiful song, but you know what? I was introduced to him through my sister, who had Endless Summer double vinyl, and yeah, that was on there. So that was I like it more just because it was my introduction, like most morons.
I'm not asking this in order to talk about the unfortunate passing of Brian Wilson a few days, but I also chose God Only Knows, and I hope that most of you would choose it, because I think there is some sort of opulent nature on this record. At first, it sounds very easy, very accessible, but if you listen a little bit more closely, I think there's a lot of stuff going on.
Damn it! We blew it, you guys.
You didn't hide it well enough.
Opulent.
You were supposed to do a sparse mix.
Adjective. Ostentatiously costly and luxurious. Yep, I reckon that's right.
Sound says our album is overcooked.
Well,
it can happen.
So let's talk about accessibility. that surely was important of this record for you guys, wasn't it?
It just like kind of happened. Like Bear always writes a lot of material and had all these like pop rock songs we were sort of putting in the live set, and it just seemed like, well, yeah, why not? Let's record these. So.
And Bear, how did you come up with those 60s inspired tracks?
I don't know. I stuff just kind of seeps through me. Usually stuff that I've been marinating in since I was like 7 or 8 years old kind of comes through, especially with the guitar stuff. But I meant to ask, did you get to listen to the whole album yet, or
yes,
or no? Oh, okay, yes. Great, yeah. Yeah, so I'm kind of limited on the guitar, so some of these things they just come out as kind of like what they come out as, but where they came from, I don't really know. Because usually I find out after the fact that I'm like, oh, I'm ripping off this, or this is kind of referencing that, or it's a little bit of a nod here or there, and then I only find out kind of after the fact what when I'm in the whatever the flow state of trying to write a song. I feel like, oh, this is so good, oh, this is so awesome, da da da. Then later on, somebody tells me this is actually some other thing here, but yeah, I found with the I promise I'll stop talking because I keep talking.
No, good, go on.
But a lot of it was the just sort of ideas that we were trying to, or I was sort of thinking like, let's add some more kind of up songs to our live set, whereas some of the stuff can be kind of like chamber.
Sorry,
chamber pop.
Yeah, sort of a chamber. Sort of a chamber pop kind of thing, or more introspective, or a little bit navel gazy, and I think there was maybe a little bit of a self-conscious thing around, is maybe me asking the question, are we boring the audience? So I was like, we need stuff that's kind of driving and kind of maybe getting, making the audience get a little bit more hype, right, Angus? And so,
but it's funny you said 60s because I wonder how many songs are actually 60s like. I mean, I think there's a few. I feel like there's a lot of nods to the late 70s, really.
Yeah, 70s.
Grumpy Library sounds like the Beach Boys, though, or even the Beatles.
Exactly.
We tried to put
totally.
We tried to put as many of the studio's kind of like the EMT plate reverb that's in the studio that we recorded in. We put that on there a bit, so that's kind of was used a lot in the 60s. But yeah, I don't know.
I have a general question.
Been compared to the Beach Boys too.
I have a general question, Bear. When you say you write those songs, do you write all the parts, also the parts for Danny, for Angus, for Shane, or do they then come up with their own stuff?
I try to stop them from having any of their own input into this as much as I can.
Yeah.
Here's a funny thing. I was actually thinking about this today, where I'm kind of a rapacious. That was one of my fun words that popped in my head today. Rapacious control freak, but on this particular outing or this particular album, more than other things, like Shane had some of the best kind of chord progressions in Every Time. Contributed that, and then Angus, and Danny certainly is like they sort of just I can only kind of influence things a certain way. Like I am trying to control things a lot, and I do have pretty specific ideas kind of going in, but it's really fun, and I've maybe more than other albums I've tried to kind of like just sort of yield to what is happening, or listening to other people's, and that's been really hard for me. So so, and that's just coming from a place of like, this megalomaniacal kind of thing where I'm like, no, I've got my parts and this is how it goes, and and then it'll take its own shape through these guys' personalities and stuff, and so that's been sort of a fun thing to sort of yield to what they're trying to do, but generally I try to be pretty controlling. It never really lasts.
I also ask that because there are definitely moments on this record where I'm like, okay, who came up with the idea of having like a Springsteen groove on Happy Now, because there is one drum part, Mr. Heifetz, which sounds as if you are directly channeling Max Weinberg.
Thank you.
But
I have no idea. I don't know what you're referencing, but that's really awesome compliment.
There is one part in Happy Now that sounds a lot like Born to Run.
But honestly, that means
Really?
that compliment should really go to Bear, because he does. I am trying to play what they're his drum ideas. So my biggest problem is resisting trying to do something that I want to do that 90% of the time is not going to work. So I'm trying to think of what that is. I can't even think of the song in my head right now. Bear, do you know what part you might be talking about?
There is this very fast-paced parts in Happy Now, which sound a lot like.
I think I have the wrong song in my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have Grumpy Library. That's cool, though.
Just to interject about Happy Now.
Yeah, Shane?
I was just going to say, with Happy Now, like, we played that song differently before Danny got in the band. Like, all the rhythmic nuances in that song is completely, like, he came up with all of that. Like, when we were running through that song, we were kind of tired of it. Like, at the time, like Bear said, it was something that was put in the set to kind of, like, have a bit of more of a rocking moment. But, yeah, all the nuances you hear in that Danny, like, sort of brought that thing to life. So, he definitely gets the credit for that. So,
yes, he should have. And
I didn't even know that. I guess just overall, as a perspective on this, is that I am definitely, I'm coming into this band about a decade and a half behind everybody else.
Yeah, and still it's some kind of intergenerational band, right?
Yeah, even me and Bear are practically intergenerational. We're 6 years apart. But yeah, let's pretend that me and Bear are in the same generation. Let's pretend he's 75 as well. It is. There's an actual generation gap, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't ever feel like that musically.
Doesn't that even make it more interesting, Angus? What do you think?
I was definitely.
Since I'm only 12, like all my influences from TikTok and stuff, they rock out on this record, and I can't listen to anything that goes for any longer than 3 or 4 seconds. After that, I'm done. So, and I always try to obey the law. Just want to say that once again. Always try to obey the law, even though I'm of a younger generation. I think it's important that younger people now obey the law. If anyone's watching this, you do not disobey the law. Don't do it.
And daily, right? It's a new law every day, right?
It's got to be. You got to look up a new law. Familiarize yourself with the law every day. So you open up the law book. You know the book. Open it up. Read one law all day. Familiarize yourself with every single part of it. Then go to bed early. Wake up. Same thing. I guess that's my answer to that question.
But Danny, you've just mentioned you come into the band later than everybody else, although you know Bear the longest of them all.
Right. Yeah, so there's that connection, but as far as this band itself, I'm definitely the late bloomer.
Yeah. To clear it up for everybody who doesn't know, Bear and Danny know each other from Mr. Bungle.
All right, interview over.
Yeah. If the interview is over, then you shouldn't say one of the tracks was written for Disco Volante.
No, we're digging deeper.
So you have a lot of new stuff on the record, and then you have a track which is more than 30 years old. I don't have to ask which one came first, but how did it happen that all of a sudden you dig up a track that is that old? That is older than Angus by 24 years or so.
All right, it's crazy.
I love these numbers. And you're really bumming me out with these numbers here. Well, for me, it was a little bit kicking and screaming. It wasn't so much like my kind of crusade or anything. It was.
He didn't really want to learn that song. We
yeah.
Me and Shane kept hassling him to dig it out.
We pinned him to the ground and just started screaming at him like, "No, we're going to play this song, man!" Like
we were singing all the drum parts into his ears, and he remembered them, and they flung out of his fingers onto the stage.
It's funny because they're still trying to convince me, it's a good piece of music. So
it is.
It's it's one of those funny things where it just hadn't, because it still has to be, it's still kind of lurking on what do you call it, on the internet as an unreleased, kind of unfinished thing from the Disco Volante era, I guess. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I can't really speak to it. I'll let you guys comment on it, Shane, and get.
Well, the version that we recorded is a bit different to the one that was recorded for Disco Volante. I assume that was like they were actually going to put that on. That's not a demo, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
We recorded like a cellist, and the orchestration's a bit different to what the Bungle version ended up being. So I think that's kind of interesting too. And there's some sections that like different instrumentation, different, like even some of the drum parts are different, but I don't know.
Yeah, we did take out some stuff from it, because I think it was like I only speak for myself, where I thought it was like, oh, we should trim off a little bit of the fat, so to speak.
I missed that bit, but
and Angus missed it, and he lobbied for it, but yeah, sorry.
No, I think taking the middle section out was the right thing to do. I think this new version is far more concise, and it really, it shows the piece of music for what it should have been. I think it's a good version of it. So,
but that, like, to answer your question, I was just going to say, like, I don't really know where it sort of came up. It was sort of like, it's one of these things that just in a rehearsal, Angus or Shane just sort of yells it out, like, we should do this, and then next thing you know, it's on the album. So there it is.
Next thing you know, we're banging the law, baby.
The sun setting, by the way. So my screen's about to go dark.
You have sun there? God, it's completely dark here.
Yeah, the sun in Brunswick,
cloudy.
not in Carlton.
Wow.
Mornington Peninsula.
Hang on, other way around.
We are
so dark
we're
here.
dark,
like,
baby.
Such nasty cloud.
Are you so far
Still
apart
light.
in Australia?
No, not as far apart as the setting sun would seem to suggest.
No.
Sounds like.
I mean, we're all Shane, I guess, is a bit further. You're about an hour's drive away?
Yeah. I'm down the Mornington Peninsula. It's about an hour away.
But then the question,
100 Ks.
yeah. But then the question is, how do you guys then? I mean, like, if there's one band member so far away, how do you guys then work as a band? Do you meet regularly? Do you do online stuff? How do you do it? I'm like, I know that Danny loves to do his online sessions, so maybe that's the way.
Yeah, we do. We set up a rehearsal. We try to.
I mean, since yesterday we meet. Since yesterday we meet pretty much every day. we had our first just to put it in. We did have our first rehearsal yesterday, first one in 8 months. But that's because I had some health issues that I wanted to have really badly, and I was so.
Yeah, you're supposed to say not to brag.
Yeah, not to brag. So yeah, we would rehearse depending on gigs coming up. We never perform enough to make it a regular thing to rehearse, but we would always do it if there was something happening, and we definitely did for the recording. Plenty of rehearsing. I mean, Shane's what, an hour drive away, but we're all within an hour of each other. It's not that bad.
Yeah, we're used to, because Melbourne is sort of like a small LA, or so we're sort of used to having to travel at least 45 minutes to an hour just to see each other or whatever. So we've so we're cool with that, I guess, on some degree. I was just gonna say, by the way, I wanted to shout out to Jeremy Dullard, or if I'm saying his name right, or Jeremy Dullard. He's a former percussionist, vibraphonist, and
too much for him.
He loved all the rehearsals that Umlaut did back in the day, and he he sort of regularly comes up anytime I think about doing too many rehearsals with this band, which hasn't been the case lately, I always think of that guy. So,
well, we're not sure how much sarcasm we have to take from that.
sorry.
All good, all good.
We'll tag him in this. Sorry.
Please do. And there is something there are a few things that I have to ask about the record, and also its title, Désolé. I'm not sure if it's an English word in reality, but I know it's a French word, and if I remember correctly, in French, it has like a sad, despaired connotation, isn't it?
Oh no, we had a totally different thought.
So what was your thought? Happiness?
I'll make a quick comment. So I was going to say that the umlaut at the end, we know that's not the correct, spelling or accent or diacritical mark, if that's the right term.
But it fits to a band like umlaut.
Well, that was the kind of the little joke there. But beyond that, it used to be the name of STFU on the album.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it came from. But yeah, it's weird because it's one of these things, some of my comment isn't short, but I will say this and then stop talking. I promise you guys. There is this idea, because like when I first saw the album cover with the name there, I sort of like it did kind of make me think of what's happening, in politically in a certain part of the world, and this kind of cringe factor that Americans have with that. And so then on that sort of level, it's sort of like it seems sort of fitting, but I'll let the other guys comment at this time.
I thought it was a good title, and it was gone because the song that was called that was titled something else. So I thought that the album should be entitled Désolé. So I was my thinking.
Yeah.
I think it looks good on the cover as well.
And then I would hope that like maybe the French people would be like, well, at least they know what they've done. Even though
when we already hint at the cover, I'm very sure that the contradiction between all the old books and all the old computers is wanted, right? Or who came up with the cover?
Well, I could actually bring the person that designed it.
Would you like it? Would you like to
get her into the interview? Get her in.
She would like fall over from self-consciousness. Right? She wouldn't come into the room. Yeah, my fiance was the one who she basically was building this collage, and then it came into this looking like some kind of apocalyptic thing, and then it sort of suggests a lot of these things. But I guess this also goes to the piece of like, when I was asking you, have you heard the album yet? Because a lot of times people haven't even heard the music, and then they'll go like, so tell us about the album, and I'll be like, and I would just say this quickly is like a lot of times I have a little bit of this issue with wishing that people would just go, so for me, I think the thing means this or that, because a lot of times that's what art is for, right? Not that it's necessarily art, but is that people listen to the album and then they make up their own minds about what it means to them or what they think it might be suggesting or this or that. To me, it seems a little bit on the nose. What is that? That's awesome. Sorry.
Danny's your cat making that sound?
Because I was just my comment is just to say that like a lot of times people will say, I'm always waiting for people to tell us what they think a thing is about, because that's where, once we've finished making the album, it's like, and the things out there in the world, it's up to everybody else to do whatever they think a thing means, or suggests or how it might resonate with them,
Well, I think if you ask me that way, then I would say the record has a lot of heads. It's like a hydra. And I think especially the last two or three, a lot of the last 2 or 3 tracks give the whole thing a very different spin to me, because it becomes clearly political. Was that important for the two expats?
Are you talking about my government is never wrong?
My government's never
My
wrong.
government is never wrong. Whose laws you abide?
Dude.
Well, the thing is,
That's
it's good. That is a good pivot. That song is a good pivot into my current phase, because I realized at that point we were recording that, which was a very emotional day for me. I realized since then I had studied that recording a lot, like for hours every day, and then I realized my government is never wrong. Therefore, I should obey the law. So you might hear some more. You might hear a sequel to that song sometime. We don't know.
It all ties together.
A whole EP.
It's evolving.
But I wouldn't call that song political. I would call that song emotional. I would call that song very emotional.
But nevertheless,
I think that song is actually the spirit of the band in some ways.
Yep. Which is the spirit of the band.
With that minute of silence at the beginning.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The spirit of the band is just emotion and love, and that's that's it.
But obeying the law and realizing that authority is never wrong. Like
exactly.
Never.
Of course.
And you come to that realization. You come to that realization by loving your fellow man.
But let's talk to the two expats over there. Is that something that you wanted to get out? Like at least a little bit of a statement?
Well, I think in the past it's been a little bit of a thing where bands, or I don't know, bands I've been associated with, it's usually been a thing that we would sort of dodge away from, or kind of tiptoe around. It's like I can vividly remember, like, back in the day, people kind of hanging shit on U2, say it or Bono or whatever, for being too political, and you kind of go like, oh, that's kind of, I don't know if it's a hacky thing musically or whatever, or using your band to make a political point or whatever. I think it's kind of like, it can be a kiss of death or something, I guess. But again, Umlaut has never been about like how to do a band correctly. It's been more of a thing of like, how not to do a band. Maybe that's me kind of just owning the fact that for whatever we have or haven't done. But I don't know. What do you guys reckon about the political statement stuff?
It's so.
I mean,
rad.
if I'm being completely serious, I don't know if there's much political content.
I would say the political, if that's considered a political thing, I think that's just something you said at a rehearsal once, and it got recorded.
It's true.
I didn't even know it was on the album. I actually haven't even heard it yet.
So. I was filled with emotion.
I'm staying out of this conversation because I actually don't even know what
when I said that that's the spirit of the band, it's like every now and then we go to rehearsal and Bear records all the rehearsals, and we just do these off the cuff things, and Angus is usually spearheading them on the mic. And that is literally one of them. Like that, it's just this bizarre kind of train of thought. Maybe Angus can, extrapolate on it a little bit.
If it's political at all, it's maybe it will be a time stamp of the year of the people that were in power that year, because they are mentioned. Like our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese got a mention. Joe Biden, who's number one by the way in that song, got a mention, and Donald J. Trump got a mention, I believe. But I don't know that at any point that was considered anything particularly serious, but very emotional. I will say.
Are they mentioned? I actually just. Sorry, I have to admit that I don't know what you guys are talking about. But are you serious? Are those names actually mentioned in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then that's again another reason why I'm staying out of this conversation, because so I don't know the context.
Yeah, I would just say, really sorry to interrupt, but I would just say that, like, and again, even like with the music, where it's like, it's kind of like looking back, I'm like, oh, this thing, oh, I'm realizing like I'm sort of conjuring this thing, or it's like I can hear like something that I heard when I was 9 or 10 coming through me, and then it's coming out of my voice as I'm doing some kind of rock or guitar type driven song. But like, and then even looking at the album cover and then going like, I'm like, what is this? What are people going to think of this? And then putting myself in like an objective kind of person's thing, and like kind of go, how might this come off to people? And then I'm going like, a couple Americans, and then in a band with some Australians, and then this thing saying sorry, and then it just looks like the end of the world, and this kind of disaster thing with like I don't know. And then I do put myself in the shoes of a person seeing it for the first time, going like, what would they think? Like, we're trying to go like, what are they, because a lot of people might look at something and go like, this is definitely intentional. It's like they're coming at us with some kind of agenda, and it's not the case. So for that song that's on the album, that was sort of an accidental moment. But when we're sort of caught up with this shit show on the daily as far as the news cycle, it's people, it can't help but kind of get swept in, and people go like, oh, I think they're commenting on this or that or But yeah, sometimes things are just accidental.
It might live in the subconscious. If you're not thinking and you accidentally say children dream of Donald Trump, what are you saying there, really? I mean, they probably do. Yeah. Children probably do dream of Donald Trump, and that's not good.
Like breaking alienation on the record. Like it's like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's if you think about that sentence, it's kind of horrifying.
I can't believe we're going so deep on like.
Also, that song was meant to be secret. That song was meant to be like hard to get to. But I'm impressed that you managed to sit through the silence to listen to it, because some people might just to put that on and be like, all right, this is a troll track. There's nothing on this.
My first thought that I had, and I only saw the cover, I have not seen the backside of it yet. So I thought like, okay, is that really gonna be the hidden track, like back in the 90s when we still had that, like.
Yeah,
we keep a minute of
pretty much.
Yeah, it's harder to do that with streaming, because it's like people see the seconds on their computer. But anyway, that's it.
Even the people releasing the album didn't understand it. Like, it was supposed to be a secret track, and they're like, well, the track listing's wrong, because you can't hide it anymore. It's just nowhere to put it. So
it's hidden on the vinyl, but maybe not anywhere else.
Probably not anywhere else. But then the question that I still have to that is to that song before we move on. I mean, like, it's definitely different than some of the other tracks. And was it always intended to be the last one? Probably, right? Because you say like a hidden track.
Dude, it's literally like a freestyle. Like, we didn't. That just happened in the studio.
That song was an afterthought.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about the song itself, but about its position on the record. That was clearly the last one, right?
Probably. Hard to say.
Yeah.
By the way, you go, Angus.
It was an iPhone. It was an iPhone recording of a rehearsal that was recorded into a 4-track tape machine, and then fiddled with a little bit. And then I don't know that it was like, man, we've got to finish the record. That wasn't even the intention of making that. We just liked that. We thought that improvisation was kind of weird and funny. It's improvised completely, by the way. And so I put it in my 4-track when Bear was in America on seeing his family, and I just without any explanation or email subject line, I just sent that to him, because I put it through my tape machine, and that was that. I guess we thought it would. I don't know how much thinking there was behind this.
Yeah, I also guess that there is not a lot of thinking behind the fact that the font on the cover looks a lot like Helmet.
Oh, does it? Oh dear.
Yeah,
that wasn't what I was going for.
Yeah, but it's wonderful. I might as Helmet is one of my favorite bands. To me, that's totally fine.
I always loved that first like EP that they had. I always thought that was really cool.
John Stanier on drums, man. Like, yeah.
Yep. And if you have John on the drums, that's nearly as good as having Danny.
Not quite.
Not quite. That's nearly.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right, I guess.
He suits that kind of music. He would be terrible in this band.
He'd be awesome in this band. Are you kidding me? Fuck, he'd be good.
I mean, like, he'd be awesome in any band, right? I'm very sure he could play in a black metal band, and it would be the best black metal band ever.
I mean, I would like him to join a band like Toto, and then just like, oh fuck, they're actually kind of good.
That might be a waste of talent.
Well, yeah, of course. It
But,
would be fun.
anyway.
It would be fun. I'd love to see him playing in every band.
Yeah, I'm actually, I can get behind that. I want to see him in Toto, man. Like, totally. Hold the line. Like,
I mean, I don't really want
Totally.
that because I don't want to have to put up with that band. But somebody, let's say, oh God, I was going to say an even worse band that starts with an O, but I'm not going to mention them.
Opeth.
No, a terrible band that starts with an O. Same amount of letters, but yeah. Anyway, Staniers, yeah, he's okay, I guess.
And now everybody's like,
Oobles?
Opus.
That's too many words. It's oobles.
No, Opus.
I'll give you a hint. Oh, brother, that fucking band. But let's move on.
Where art thou? Anyway.
No.
Anyway, what is interesting is that, and that is come back to the music in general. As I said, it is very accessible. At first, it's like, oh, that's nice. That's, I don't want to say easy listening because otherwise one of you guys will kill me. But it's really accessible and I love it. And then when listening to it for a second time, a third time, another spin and another spin, I have a feeling as if, there's even some kind of subversive character underneath all of the tracks. Do you try to play with us? Do you try to give us many different elements? I'm not going to ask Angus because he's just going to abide the law and
What's wrong with obeying the law?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's it.
You go.
Interesting comment. I guess. Yeah. I think that goes back to that my earlier comment about the thing where I think people will overlay their own meaning onto things, and that's and on some level, and then I definitely am kind of schizophrenic. Well, leaning maybe. I don't know. That's not clinically or anything, but I think I do have kind of like some kind of split personality things going on sometimes, or I have an idiotic kind of bird squawk sound that comes out of my body sometimes involuntarily, or I'll go into like a Gollum voice or something. I don't know. So there is, sometimes it's just
precious.
Like, yeah, it's just sort of like a playfulness I think that goes on with it. It's like, because most of the time, I think like I got to be serious. I got to be mysterious. I got to do this or that. But other times, just this unadulterated kind of idiot comes out, and I'm like, I think I sort of said to Angus once upon a time, like, I mean, because there are moments, some of the songs that are like deadly serious or very earnest. At least a couple of them seem that way. Certainly, but there's other things that are more playful. So there's like I used to complain to Angus and Shane about Zappa kind of stuff where I was like, man, I'm not into doing this joke song kind of things. But then I end up doing joke song kind of type things, and I'm like, I'm a pure hypocrite on some level. Yeah. So as far as that goes, but there is definitely a playfulness, but there are times when there's a seriousness to it. But I think most of the time it's just could be accidental. But it's an interesting question. Yeah. Anybody?
Bear is accessible as a composer because he is good at melody. That's what I think.
Thanks, Angus. Very sweet of you.
Isn't it sometimes hard to be in a band with all of those guys? I'm like, wow. It's like, well, I'm still wondering whether this is the most fun interview that I've ever had or the second most. But honestly, there are a lot of very, very great songs on the record. Tend to be precise, even an improvisation at the end. And the improvisation, that's the last question before we come to the quickfire round at the end. The improvisation, is that something that people can also expect when they have a chance to see you live, that the songs will not be the same?
Yes and no.
A little bit. Not that much. A little bit.
I think the older songs on older records have changed a lot, but this record, I'm guessing, will be playing it kind of as is. So
yeah. But we
don't like jam that much, do we? I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes I guess.
If they want to hear the great improvisational genius of Umlaut, we should really make our rehearsals into gigs, because then that would be
You might stream them and make money from it.
It's true. We really should be like releasing those rehearsals live, because there was at least 2 or 3 new things, like the Lawman came up yesterday, which is going to be probably included. It's going to be in the same kind of tradition as, My Government Is Never Wrong. And The Government Is Never Wrong, by the way.
We're still talking about
Jesus Christ.
He's going back to it.
That fucking thing.
Ties into the surprise of it, of like what you were saying with the improvisation. It was like I said, where Angus had said I was overseas, and Angus kind of like and then slapped it into the thing with the album, and I was like, what is this? And it was such a kind of a delight and a pleasant, like a surprise, and there's so much novelty to it that it was actually my favorite thing of the whole record. When I came across it in the folder that had all the songs, so it's one of those things, and then. Because we spend time, rehearsing the songs and getting the little parts right and everything and But then, like, the most fun is just when there's this kind of stream of consciousness, kind of like seemingly codeine infused, whatever, ad-libbing that goes on. And I'm like, and I'm always grateful that we recorded it, or I happen to have the thing recording, because it's just sort of a surprise of it. Because the other stuff is just like, okay, yeah, it's like, if you're a runner and you go practice your 100-meter sprint, and then like there's all this fun you can have on the inside of the oval if you're just not trying to practice being an athlete or something. So it's like there's a surprise to it and a freshness that, generally speaking, I'm kind of anti-improvisation, and you won't hear like a lot of like, oh, I got to get my sax solo on this song. And in fact, even referring to that, like there was there was a saxophone part that I'd spent a couple days, perfecting for Grumpy Library, where Angus was like, nah, it doesn't work. And I had this moment where I was like, wait, but my brain was going, but I've spent 2 days on it. It has to go in. But he was right. It didn't need to be there. So that was a big thing. And I was a big boy to look past it and tell my ego to sit down and no, there's no saxophone in this bit of the song. No, but seriously though, it was a surprise, and it was kind of that thing of yielding to other people's like opinions of how a thing should be. But most of the time I'm kind of anti. Like I'm not one of these guys that tries to jump. Like if there's a bunch of jazzos musicians doing like a cobra, I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm like, couldn't be less interested. And that's only because I'm a scared little boy, and I should just make my saxophone skronk noisily, like, and I could have so much fun and maybe discover a new side to myself, right, Angus?
Cobra seems like it's more fun to play than to listen to. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you.
Although,
having said all that, I think like when I do kind of like relax, and let things happen, the real magic happens. And we'll be back after these messages. Oh, sorry.
It's the difference between, all of the clearly laid out stuff and then, something quick on the go. It makes it very natural. Let's put it like that.
I think the band, though, like there is there's a lot of really intricate and well thought out arrangements, and then sometimes there's just a bit of like, fuck you,
yeah,
as well.
But that makes it very lively.
That comes out, maybe there's like some noise that pops up, or some like a sound that's kind of grating on the ears right after something that's kind of pretty. I think it's hard for us to not be like that a little bit. I don't know.
So, guys, first of all, thanks for all the insight into Désolé for everybody. Again, Désolé has been released on June 25th through Overdrive Records.
Is it July? In July, right?
June, I think. June 25th? Did I say July?
I think it is July.
It's July.
Let me have a look what it says. Yeah, July 25th. Yeah, I just came back from holidays. My mind is still blank. But of course, Bear also already knows that nobody goes through the interview here without having to stand my infamous quickfire round at the end. You will always get 2 alternatives and have to choose.
What's that?
What's that? Yeah.
I'm still doing this.
So it's just going to be another 5 minutes.
Hi, Stella.
Are you going soon?
Let's start off with a musical genius who could write a song about a dog, but then didn't. Barry Manilow. I'll give you two of his tracks. Copacabana versus Mandy.
I only know Copacabana.
Which one would you rather listen to right now?
Chopin.
So I don't.
I'm only going with his Chopin piece. That's all.
Can I rephrase my answer? I would like, if I would like either of those at my funeral, I will choose Copacabana.
That would be cool.
Just to make it more miserable.
I want everyone to be uplifted by the Caribbean sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
I'm gonna go Mandy.
And then the next track has to be Club Tropicana by Wham.
Yes. Tropical funeral, please.
Mandy for me, if I was to give an actual answer. If I'm not allowed to answer
you are
Chopin,
please.
whatever his, I can never remember the name of it. The one where he did the Chopin piece. But yeah, Mandy, because I actually bought that when I was, I think, in year 5. I bought the single.
So I
bought 3 Barry Manilow records when I was a kid.
Okay.
I can't believe I did that.
All comes out now.
I hope so.
Canceled. No.
I guess if he still has them and sells them, he can make a lot of.
I would never sell my BM records.
We've been asking him to sell them to us, and he won't part with them. So
yeah, maybe
who was
he'll take him to the grave.
Yeah.
No, you all have to answer all of those. So
are we meant to go in order or something? How does?
Okay. We haven't had order since the beginning of this interview, so let's do it. The Beatles versus the Beach Boys.
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one for me.
I mean, nothing against the Beach Boys, but I grew up on the Beatles, so.
Bear?
If I had to choose, I'd probably. Oh God, I'm gonna get. I'd say. I'm suddenly reminding my kid.
Can I put a little asterisk on that? If it was,
yes, of course,
a specific
so
composer, if it was, Mike Love versus George Harrison, I think I'd probably take George Harrison. But if it was like Paul versus Brian, I'd probably go Brian. So it's that kind of thing. It's not, if it's a full band, Beatles 100%, because there's some other band.
Bear.
I'd say the Beatles, even though that's such a close. Yeah, it's too hard.
The Beatles have more solid, I feel like they have a more solid hit rate, but I think the Beach Boy, there's no Beatles album that touches me like a Pet Sounds or Smile, so I might have to go with the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I actually was listening to the Beach Boys this morning, so I'm not going to be biased here, but yeah, I've got to go Beach Boys just because if I had to pick to listen, it's I'm going to probably, like Angus said, I'm going to head towards Pet Sounds or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a difficult answer for me. I was just going to say quickly that that what was that Peter Jackson documentary recently on or recent-ish on the Beatles, pretty much affirmed my belief in working with being less like I am and being more having the full band kind of create music together instead of just going here's my songs, you guys, because the way they worked in the lead up to that was so inspiring. I was just it blew me away. I was very emotional after. It was man, that was so inspiring, to the way Ringo was just kind of so kind of keyed into what they were doing, and it was very inspiring to see that.
And it's also the way that I think a lot of people overlook Ringo's maybe not drum efforts, but his overall songwriting efforts, because there were moments when he definitely brought something to the Beatles. But then again, being said, I also can understand Angus and Shane when they say okay, I would go Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I'm very torn in the middle, and I'm glad I don't have to choose. I could choose for the next one, but I'll have you 4 guys first choose between Randy Newman and Burt Bacharach.
Burt Bacharach.
Easy listening to the max.
Finally, an easy question.
So Shane, what did you say?
Bacharach, easy.
Danny?
I have Bacharach records. I don't have Randy Newman anything, so.
I got a couple Randy Newman records. He was fucking great. But yeah, I mean, that's yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
But in saying
It's great.
that,
If you want
I've never
Randy Newman
listened to
versus
it, you know what I
Barry
mean? Like,
Manilow,
I have no reference point. So
That song "I Love
Like
LA"
Randy,
that's got the guys from Toto on it. So watch out.
he has slightly better
on Randy
songs than
Newman.
that. Yeah,
It's a good song.
No shade on Randy Newman, but I I'm such a a late to the party kind of person. Even with Bacharach, I was like, people always like Bacharach this and that. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, what? You don't know about this? So I came to that kind of realization of the brilliance of that person way late.
I mean, his music in The Shining is incredible. Totally makes that movie. That's the only reason that movie is so lighthearted.
So I have two more questions. The first one, which cocktail would you rather suggest drinking while listening to Désolé? A Mai Tai or a Pina Colada?
Aren't they the same thing?
No.
I mean,
I want to see what the ingredients are.
I know, I'm not much of a drinker. I'm terrible.
I actually had a Pina Colada recently. Yeah. I think maybe it's a bit more of a Negroni kind of record, but, I could be wrong.
We have to choose one of the two, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
It's interesting how serious Angus becomes once it's about alcohol.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's a very coconutty kind of album. I think I'll go Mai Tai.
See? Okay. And
No
Danny,
coconuts.
could you choose?
Gin and tonic.
Okay. And I hope that somebody will see the connection between these two. I'm not sure if anybody will, but I'll give you, as the last one, you have to choose between two bands, Kansas versus Toto.
Toto.
I mean, if John Thanier is playing with Toto, I'm going Toto every time. So
yeah, but what do you do if John Stanier is playing with Kansas?
Oh, then I'm Kansas.
You see? So you're basically just Camp Stanier.
Yeah.
I'd only say Kansas just because it was more of like what I feel like I was steeped in as a little kid and not knowing what I'm hearing, but I'm like, this is badass. And then Toto was more like closer to like AM radio, kind of like slick stuff. Yeah.
Carry On Wayward. I bought Carry On My Wayward Son was one of the first singles I ever bought. So I would have been 10. I used to buy the 7-inch singles in from the top 40 bin outside of my drum lesson room, the music store where I did lessons. And I remember that was one of the first ones. I used to practice that song every fucking day. So that song actually had a lot to do with because there's a lot of changes in that song. It's a pretty the full. I think I had the single track, and later I heard the full track of it. It's a fucking great song. I don't know a single thing about that band except that I've heard that song 7,000 or 8,000 times. Toto, I've only ever listened to in the bathroom when I have diarrhea.
Without putting the records on. Okay, yeah, we see that.
Dude, I listen to none of that stuff, like neither. Like, so I don't really have a reference point for either, really. So,
God, I'd love to see Stanier play fucking Carry On Wayward Son. That'd be amazing.
When I think of like what am I?
But it'd be great. I challenge him.
I was listening to him today. Anyway, he plays on that Mark Kane record, and damn, like some of the fills on there, you just listen to like pocket, like Jesus Christ. So,
yeah.
But Barry, you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just like, it's that thing is like, as a little kid, and I had these older sisters and, that were, partying it up and whatever. And it was just like, and then, so for me, the older cool kids were listening to like Kansas and whatever, but again, yeah, Toto is amazing, obviously. But no, I was just going to say, every time I hear that, like, what's that? Something about the thing, like, there's nothing that 100 men on board could ever do.
Africa.
The Africa song,
Africa by Toto.
Now, when I'm at work, I just need you guys to know that when they go, there's nothing that 100 men on board could ever do. And I yell out, they're useless. And I just feel like there's like somebody could have yelled that, or the drummer should yell that when he's doing it. Like somebody should just do this little.
Yeah, but then it would be very much like Waiting for Godot, like, you're useless, go on.
I saw Rosanna. I saw the video to Rosanna on the Australian music video show Rage once, and I really liked them after that. I feel like songs really funny. I don't know why. I think it's really funny how long their solos are. Like it's because they're
in a band
all
with a bunch of people that like fucking Toto. I don't get.
They're all session guys.
I quit this band.
Too bad.
Who are you people?
Toto's rules, man. You don't know. There's like a long keyboard solo and a long guitar solo. Like why? It's so silly.
Because they can.
10 out of 10 for me from Toto.
0 out of 0 for me.
So I see next rehearsal is going to be really interesting.
No, Angus is going to kill me. He's going to play all. Actually, he thinks he's going to kill me. He's going to play all these recognizable Toto licks. And I don't know. I've never heard that. If you do Africa like that quarter step out or half step out, that thing that somebody did, that I fucking loved. That was great.
So, guys, thanks for all your time. I know you have to go and mix your Mai Tais or Pina Coladas for the evening session. And I don't want to keep you from that. So first of all, thanks for everything. And each one of you gets to say one last thing, and it's not going to be obey the law because
So is that off bounds?
That is off balance. That is too much obey.
Okay.
So we start with the expats. Come on, let's start with the Americans.
What
to do with the what? Just to do with the record?
Just one last sentence. Whatever you want to say.
I don't know. I had a really good rice paper roll today, a barbecue pork rice paper roll, but that wasn't from the place that I usually go to. It's from a place down the road. So now I have a good backup for that. So
that is.
I love you, everybody.
Love you too, Bear.
Record is the best thing you've ever heard,
and you're the best crowd you've ever played.
It's gonna blow
Angus.
People's minds.
Yeah, Shane Angus, now you have a chance to settle the scores.
Oh, geez, man. I just think everyone should just respect authority at all times. At all times.
No, he didn't say it.
Yeah, I know.
I got around it.
I just want to apologize for my skin condition that's making the top of my head multicolored and sometimes my eyes and the rest of my face. It's really itchy, and the lotion is making it go away slowly. So I just want to shout out to Sally's Lotions. She's a great woman. She works out of Australia to fix all unusual skin conditions.
Hi, kitty kitty.
I'm not sure if a cat was the most serious compagnon in all of those minutes that we spent together, guys. Thanks a lot for the record. Thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, mate.
See ya.